Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, and today I want to talk about the Trial of the Sekhemas. This is one of the ways that you can earn your ascendancy points, and depending on what ascendancies you still need to get done, this can earn you all the way up to all of the ascendancy points. And if you want to know what you need to do in order to earn your ascendancy points, all you got to do is open up the passive tree by pressing P. You can just hover over ascendancy points, and we can see that you can earn 4 sets of 2 ascendancy points for a total of 8 in the following ways. Completing floor 1 of the Trial of the Sekhemas, or completing Trial of the Chaos with at least 7 trials, completing floor 2 of Trial of the Chaos, or Trial of Sekhemas, or completing Trials of Chaos, I guess with 10 full floors. And then number 3 would be beating floor 3 of Trial of the Sekhemas, or completing Trial of Chaos with at least 10 trials. And then set 4 is completing floor 4 of Trial of the Sekhemas, or completing the secret challenge behind the locked door in Trials of Chaos, which we'll talk about in another video. So what we're doing here is doing the 4th Trial of the Sekhema. I want to give you guys some real tips here for it that are going to help you get through this as easy as possible. So one of the things I think a lot of people look over is relics. And so just from starting your run, you could potentially be making a large mistake with this, and you can go and get yourself some really good relics very easily. The most important stat right off the bat is honor resistance. And honor resistance, pretty much how it works is when you're in the run, your total like life and energy shield and like defenses give you honor. And so mine's going to be like almost 3,000, I believe here. And that means that when you get hit, you lose some of this honor bar, and other things can potentially take away from the honor, and you can also earn the honor back. And so you really cannot get hit very much while you're doing these runs. Otherwise, you're going to be losing your honor just nonstop. But one of the things you can do is having honor resistance makes it so that when you do get hit, you take less honor damage. And if you want to find these, all you have to do is open up a trade window here. We're just going to click Relic, and then we're going to put a little squiggly, and then just do honor resist, and this will find it for you. And so we can do normal honor resistance here. And so let's say we're looking for one that has like at least 15. And so we can see there's a whole bunch of options here, and this honor roll goes up to 40%. But if we were looking for ones that are 2x2, we can go and look for ones that are earn relic or seal relics by typing up here seal relic. And we can see that the highest that we can get here is like 22 honor resist. And to get really cheap ones here, we're going to go down the filter and we're going to go to buy out exalted orb. And so now we're just going to see ones here that are exalted orbs. And I can even just go and look for ones that are 20 or higher. And, you know, there we go. We have a whole bunch of these here. And these are actually pretty darn cheap. And you want to get, I would think, at least 60% honor resistance. 75% is the soft cap. You can raise that soft cap with other relics, but 75% basically means that you have 4 times the amount of honor that you would normally, because the resistance also just makes it easier for you to heal. The second most important thing that I recommend is getting a relic that looks kind of like this. Additional room is revealed in the trial map, and merchant has 2 additional choices. These help out so much. And if you only can get like merchant has additional choice, then that is fine. These are still going to be really darn cheap. But I think that this is relatively overpowered for giving you a good run, basically. So let's see here. Additional room is revealed. Search and exalts. Like 2 to 5 exalts for these to get like a good 1 IMO. And the reason why these are really, really strong is because the merchant gives you the ability to just have a good run and do find the positive things you want. And so the merchant having more options gives you more like power, whereas the seeing more rooms allows you to avoid danger or to make correct decisions. And so I go with, I believe, 3 of these. And then I have honor resistance on 2 of my pieces right now. So I'm at 50% honor resistance. And then because I absolutely just plow the entire thing, we're going to do movement speed and dodge roll distance. And this is kind of just helps out a little bit. But I'm actually going to take these 2 out just so you can kind of see what it looks like without having these zoomy, and also just for a little bit of a feel of how it is for having less. We're going to do a little bit of a run here. I'm going to talk about some of my logic and thought process behind this. I'm just going to try to make this a relatively fast video. I might skip through a floor or two. So this is one of the first rooms here. This is a, I believe, called an escape room. And we need to click these death crystals. We need to find and disable the crystals. Crystals are still active when the timer expires. It will explode and damage you, which is bad because it affects your honor. Let me just move out of the way here. Move the other side over here. And you see here, we have honor, right? We have about 3,000 honor. We can see our water, which is basically like our currency inside the run. Then we have bronze, silver, gold keys. And these are pretty much just like our resources for that. So we're going to click this and I'm going to see a little line fly out. And that is where I need to go to find the next one. And we're just going to run this direction. And I'm just going to avoid the enemies unless I've clicked the thing already. And ideally, you want to be able to be strong enough that you can, you know, kill the enemies relatively quickly. If you're doing like the first floor for your first ascendancy, you might not necessarily be able to do that your first time. But, you know, being strong enough to kill enemies very, very fast does help out quite a bit. So like getting a weapon upgrade or something really helps because you don't really want to get hit. And like this section is going to be really, really easy for me because I am very powerful. And it's typically like not even until like the last section that we have any sort of struggle, even though I'm wearing full magic find right now. So this is the map of the Trial of the Sekhemas. The first thing to note is that if I need to go trade, change something, go do anything at all, I can just click this button down here and leave the trials. My progress will be saved and I can come back at a later date. The second part here shows me my relic effects. So I can see that I have 33% increased defenses, which gives me more evasion here, so I'm less likely to get hit. I'm also getting rare monsters taking more damage, which is a very nice modifier as well. 50% honor resistance, and 3 additional rooms are revealed, and the merchant has +6 choices. These are all really, really good. And so because of this, I can see the next rooms and the rooms ahead of me like normal, but then I can see 3 additional rooms just going on here. And I'm just going to look at the negatives on these rooms here because the positives don't really matter all that much. So I can see first off the bat here that this is an escape trial and it's going to give me large sacred water, but it's going to afflict me with the debuff Fiendish Wings on entry, which means monsters' attack speed cannot be slowed below base, which I'm pretty sure means that I cannot freeze them. So I will never want to take this one. This one's very, very bad for me. Escape trial here once again, but this one makes it so I lose all sacred water on floor completion. Also very bad because then I can't spend my water after killing the boss, which really sucks. And then so the last one here is going to give me 90% reduced light radius, and the minimap is hidden. Now this one isn't necessarily all that bad if you've done this before. However, if it's your first time, this one can be a little bit painful, but this will maybe be a good run to show. Now this is a chalice trial, which means I'm going to click on this and we're going to go kill some elites. And sometimes monsters will drop keys for you. You just have to pick them up. And as you can see here, we're super duper strong here in the first rooms. So not really going to struggle all that much. And I tend to like to try to kill a little bit of everything because you can, you know, get keys obviously from stuff, but you do want to avoid taking damage. Like taking any sort of damage is a negative because you will lose honor. And you can feel free to use your flasks and stuff. If you do take damage, you should be fine. But yeah, this is like a run that's going to be kind of rough with the minus sight. So we're going to go this way though. We don't want to take the lose all the sacred. So we're going to go through here. Once again, I can see that like we're going to have a choice between these two. We can talk about this choice as we get to it. We're going to blast through this room. And this room is a hourglass one. So we're going to pull this down and then monsters are going to come at me. And first thing we'll note right off the bat is that there is a timer at the top. And that's the time that I need to survive through. And I could literally just run in a circle and not try to do anything. But if I kill elites, like I just did there, you notice that the time goes down. And so I want to kill as many elites as I possibly can, because elites also give me the chance at loot. Let's drop, you know, some bells on some enemies. And there we go. We've already finished. And we're just going to pick up our loot. And this little stuff on the ground here is pretty important. That's kind of hard to see because this is our water here. So you can see we have 312. And we're going to walk over it and we get more sacred water. This is what we're going to use at the merchant. So it's very important for us to pick this up. We're going to walk up, get our key. And now we can see that we have a minor affliction here, tattered blindfold. And so we can see all of our negatives here. Once we get positives, they'll be over here. So now we're looking at the map here, and we can see that we have, when you gain an affliction, gain another random affliction. This one is like an run ender. Do not take this one almost ever. You never want anything that is going to give you a random affliction. Do not take this one. And then likewise, this one's not bad either. Like remove 5% of your life, energy, and mana on hit. It was not terrible, but if I go this way, we're going to be forced to take this one that's a run ender. So we don't want to go that way. So we go here so we can go up and make better decisions. Now, why would you potentially ever take anything that has an affliction? Well, sometimes the positive is like worth it. So like here, for example, this gives me a pledge. We can change the trial's parameters. And so potentially we could like remove an affliction. We could add a positive modifier to ourselves. There's lots of reasons you could take that. Another thing to note, once you have selected, so once you have selected a direction you're going to go, you're forced to go that way. Now this is a ritual room, which each room of this is going to have these little skeletons that are summoning enemies out of a portal. And you need to kill both summoning skeletons to break the portal. Breaking the portal will also kill any summoned enemies. So you don't necessarily need to worry about that too much. There is a version of that that has a big elite. And I believe you also have to kill the big elite there as well. So now we can see we can get bronze key. And then we have no armor. We don't have any armor anyways, so that's fine. So we're either going to go over here and take the sacred water, or maybe take whatever is here. I personally, especially like when you're on your first run, don't care too much about getting stuff like your keys and stuff. I just prefer to do a run where we are super duper focused on getting ourselves like basically through the run. And so I will not make decisions typically that force me to take like negatives for a key or something, or like just make bad like routing choices because of that, because I want to have a successful run every run so that I can get the rewards. If you complete the full run, you also will get a unique relic that you can potentially use in your run. And some of those are selling for, you know, a couple of divines, and some of them are selling for a lot of divines. So it can be pretty worth it to get some of the drops off of this. So once again, we can see what's going to happen here. So we could take the one here that gives us the change the trials parameters, which might be worth it. Once again, we have a summoning room. Same one as before. We're just going to run around and pay a quick visit to these guys, and we're done. Get the water, and we'll just do this one just to show what it looks like. We just follow the light that flies off. Ooh, that was an elite back there. So I like killing elites for water, but especially on this escape trial, if you're like running low in time, might not be worth, you know, stopping to kill anything. You might need to just run. And a lot of these guys are just going to attack in ways that like shooting projectiles straight ahead, or they're just going to sit there and not really attack you too much. Really, like, I think the snake monsters are probably the most scary, because they do kind of chase after you a little bit and can kind of teleport under the ground. And one other trick that we can do is we can actually make the whole game brighter here as well. Let me click this, and I'm going to go here to options. And I believe it is under graphics here. We can raise the scene's brightness quite a bit here. And this is going to make it a lot easier for you to see what's going on in some of these darker areas of the map. Especially because right now my light radius is reduced. Pretty smart. So this is going to cost me 5 water to activate this, which is fine. We have 849 at this point, unless we change some of the rules. So I can gain a positive, but I get a random, like a bad one basically, which is not good for us. We never want to take a random. Restore honor when entering a boss room, but we lose sacred water every room we complete. this one's not worth it for me either. Now, this one looks very scary, but I think that this one is very, very good, especially if you have honor resistance. So what this is going to do is we're going to take 1292 physical damage on completing 8 rooms. And so as long as we have not screwed our honor up by that point, we get 3 random minor boons for very little negative here. So we're going to take this and we have our first 3 positive ones. So we got probably the best one, which is Scrying Crystal. This allows us to see an additional room ahead, which allows us to make better decisions. We also, the next time we go below 20% maximum life, we restore all life, energy shield, and half of our honor. And then now we get 50%, we get double the honor here, but we have death toll waiting for us. So we'll see what happens there. Now, this is the first boss room. This is the one you're going to need to defeat for the first tier. And honestly, I don't really know the mechanics of this guy too much because most of the time he just gets frozen and dies. So I'm just going to knock him to that point. I think he does like a big AoE thing like that. I'm going to show off some of the stuff, some volcano stuff that you need to dodge. But realistically, like, especially if you're doing this for your later trials, you won't really need to worry about most of the mechanics here on this boss, and you can just easily knock him over. And so you can see here, we're getting a whole bunch of water. And we get some relics. Now, the next part is really important. We're going to come in this room here, and then we're going to control click on Bobala, and it's going to open up the store. And what I always do here is we're going to show off that, hey, look, there are a lot of options here. Because remember, I'm adding 6 options to each vendor. And there are several things that I'm looking to get on every single run. One of them is Scrying Crystal. Another one here is Ornate Dagger. Gives us 50% increased damage. This one's less an auto buy for me. The faster you kill enemies, the less dangerous they are. So it's really good. The next thing I always try to take is Sanguine Vial. This makes it so that monsters have 30% less health, which means we're effectively doing more damage, right? So if they only have 70 health, I believe that would be 100 divided by that. It means we're doing 42% more damage. This is a massive damage increase. And so we've practically more than doubled our damage at this point, which is really nice. And I like taking the Viscous Ichor here for reduced attack speed, action speed. Makes this enemies slower in general. Slower traps is also really, really good. Half off at the vendor should always be purchased first. And then the one that makes us run faster is probably the last one I'm looking for here. But, you know, she doesn't have everything that we want, but she had quite a few good things here. Now, in this room here, you can also check your chests. Things like Royal are kind of okay to crack open. But if you see, like, Time Lost, if you see, there's, like, another jewel, Spectrum, those chests you should always open. But definitely just pay attention to that. We're going to go into the next room. And then we're going into the next floor here. And we're going to start off here. We get to pick where we start. And you're always going to start with a affliction room, I believe. And so we have 2 of the worst ones we can possibly get, which is random affliction. We never want to take this one. This is a run ender. Do not take this. And the only time I would ever take this is if it was about to finish. So do not take this. I think that Hungry Fangs is kind of scary, but it is fine. And then seeing 1 less room ahead is pretty bad. Almost all of the ones that are called smoke are very bad because they hide things from you. So we're going to go take this one here with Hungry Fangs. And then we're probably going to path into the merchant to see if we can find the movement speed thinger. So one thing to note that in these rooms, the like chests and stuff here can drop like okay loot, especially if you're not on a super duper strict filter like me. So like killing enemies can give you water. It can also give you loot. And so it's not a bad idea to do. You really are looking for water as well while you're doing these runs. You want to be able to basically just juice up your run as much as you possibly can. And it's really, really nice if you can afford to get all of the good stuff sooner than later, because this makes it faster. So we get some more free water here. And then look into the future. So physical damage, do less damage. This is another one that you don't really want to take. This one is reduced honor restored. So we're going to go take here Gauntlet into the merchant, probably take this into this. Now the problem is if we take this section here and this is a run ender thing, we're going to have to take the less damage here instead. But seeing how it was over here as well, we probably don't care about it as much. But like, you have to kind of pay attention to what your options are going to be in the future. So like going through this section here is a little bit safer because we have 2 options as well the entire way. Whereas this does basically have one that is not really an option for us. So we're going to go to the merchant here. And this is our first like traps dungeon thing. So there's a lot of stuff here that you can kind of like learn, and we'll talk about how to get through these fire things. But one thing to note is you can dodge roll under a lot of things. Well, on these, pretty much you just stand right at the spinny thing and wait till it stops spinning. You can just easily make your way through, right? And you don't get hit. But another thing you do is you can just dodge under it. And same thing here. You can just dodge under these fireballs and you'll be fine. Now, one of the ways that I take honor damage the most is by greeting and getting hit on a roll. So you kind of want to be careful as well because you can most certainly take damage. Also, these fire things hit very hard and are rather hard to dodge away from unless you already have the rabbit's foot. But if you're just careful and take your time, there's no rush. You don't have to blast through these. The only time it's kind of like a little stressful is when there's enemies inside of the traps that you need to worry about. But just take your time, place your rolls, and it's a lot easier. Now, if you remember, I had a relic earlier that made it so that my dodge roll is longer, which can make it so you can get through some of these traps even smoother. And so once you're kind of like more comfortable with the run, maybe don't need as much honor resist, maybe don't need as much merchant options, those are some good things to pick up. If you're wondering why your relic slot doesn't have as many options to put stuff in, it's because you need to complete more runs. So here we go. We have Hare Foot. It gives us 40% increased movement speed. We're going to check here real quick. So merchant, the silver tongue here, reducing the cost here. This is going to leave me with 210, which is more than half of this. So even though it looks like we can't buy both, we're going to buy this. And then we're going to buy this as well. And you can just control left click these, by the ways, to purchase them right off the bat. And so now we're in a really good spot. And you can see how, you know, much more speed we have in general here. So we can see we have 25 reduced movement speed. So that's a really, really bad one. This is one of the ones that was considered to be a run ender, especially if you're trying to go all of the way. Because the final boss's mechanic, that is kind of like a timed movement speed mechanic. And so, yeah, I think instead of taking that, I'm going to go through this here. I pretty much already have all of the sacred water that I want, and I don't intend to get hit by anything besides the death toll here. And so I'm just going to take that. So that's a really great example there of where you kind of like want to be able to see as far as you possibly can so that you can make better decisions. If I didn't have the relic here, or the positive thing that makes it so that I can see one room farther, I would have made a decision that would have put me forced to take either less damage or less movement speed, both of which I think are relatively bad. And instead, I'll take the like less water found, which is not as bad. And so we're just going to try to go through the rest of the run here a little bit faster, just to like try to like zip things forward. And so this is a ritual trial room where there's also traps. So as you go through, some of these start to get a little bit harder. I do believe that oddly enough, this is like one of the harder levels for some of the ritual trial stuff. Like the 4th floor doesn't really have, I believe, traps at the same time, although some of them do. And most of them are just going to be like kind of random layouts. You're not really 100% sure what you're going to get. As you can see, like the bombs and stuff disappear after we've broken all the rituals. And we're just going to keep moving and grooving here. And we can see we get a gold key eventually, which is pretty nice. Probably don't have a lot of water by the time we get up there, so the merchant is not as good for us. Just going to blast through here. As you can see, the like rabbit's foot is making me go so much faster. And yeah, someone said in my chat, which something I actually agree with, is that one of the hard parts with the fourth floor is because they force you into tiny hallways, which is pretty annoying. So we can restore honor, but no, we have full honor. So we're going to go through here and get the water and go to the bosses. Now, these two bosses, I will admit, I have literally never seen almost any of their mechanics, except for the fact that they cause fire to shoot at you from the outside of the arena that can cause like the ground to burn for an extended period of time. And the reason I say I've never seen their mechanics is because I have pretty much always one-shot them or just completely locked them down. As you can see here, these rooms can actually be pretty good. We get quite a bit of keys from this. So we got like a lesser jewelers, some other loot. If you want my loot filter, check my Discord. I got a key. All of that's pretty good. I used to be really scared of these rooms. And like, if you're a little bit underpowered, this is definitely one of the more scary rooms because you actually have to fight and dodge enemies. But once you become powerful and are kind of blasting through, I think it's the best rooms to take in order to, you know, get better returns from keys and stuff. Now, I don't know when our death knell is actually going to trigger. I believe it's after 8 rooms. Yes, might be bad. I'm on the wrong scene. Sorry about that. Ooh, okay, so death knell just went off. So we took the huge chunk of damage, and it only affected us for 700 honor, which is not bad at all, I don't think. So here we go. We're going to go into the boss room. I'm going to heal up. And so there's 2 guys that come out. They're going to attack me, and I always just pop my unbound avatar and just blow them up. And so what you always want to do after these guys die is I just stand over here and I wait for this fire on the ground to go away. Because even though these guys already died, this fire on the ground can burn my honor. So you do not want to do that. So right now we have 262 water. We're going to pick up that. You can see there's a whole bunch of loot there that we just have hidden. And we're just going to proceed forwards. Now we want to, once again, control click the merchant to talk to them. And we can see there's some good stuff here. So turning a minor boon into a major is kind of nice. Traps are slower, also very nice. If you're very far ahead, you could take this key duplicator, which is pretty nice as well. We could take more water is found. I kind of want to take more water. And we're going to take traps are slower as well, just to show that off. And we double check these to make sure there's none of the good stuff, which would be like things like, you know, time lost, for example, or, you know, other things that are kind of like unique. Now, once you open the door to the next area, you can no longer talk to the merchant. So make sure you talk to the merchant first. So next up here, we can see afflictions. We have take physical damage on room completion, which is not great. Then we're going to have to go through and check these. So room types are unknown is not necessarily a huge negative for us because we don't care about the room types, especially early on. That can be bad. Monsters inflict binding chains on hit is really bad if you're getting hit. If you're getting hit, that's already bad. So this one's fine. Lose sacred water and room completion is bad if you don't have all the things you need to buy yet. Take more damage on low life. For me, I feel like is free. If you are playing CI, I believe you always count as being on low life right now. So keep that in mind. And then this one here, purple smoke, is a do not take this. Afflictions are unknown is horrible because you can just get a really bad affliction without realizing it. So do not take this. So this one's kind of free. This one's kind of free. I'd have to take this one as well to get that one. So instead, we are going to take the chalice trial here, and we're going to take a free key. This looks very similar to the ritual rooms from last time, except for it's going to be a little bit different because we're going to be a lot more of these like, I I don't know, ruins layouts now. We've already tried to kind of plotted out the direction we're going to be going. Now, one thing I want to note here is you're going to start seeing these on the ground. Don't walk on these because it is a trap. And this particular one shoots out poison. Other ones cause like blowguns to shoot from the walls, like your Indiana Jones or something. And so you tend to want to avoid those so that you don't get, you know, take honor damage through the trap. A lot of the enemies have like really slow attack patterns that allow you just to kind of like get around them. And the underground guys, I tend to just swing at the air at wherever I think they were so I can freeze them before they come out. All right, so now we can kind of see that we're going to assume that this entire vertical column is all negatives. So merchant only offers one choice. This isn't really a negative to us anymore because we purchased basically everything that we need. This one is bad because we get a random affliction sometimes whenever we get water or heal, I believe. Cannot restore honor is fine because it's removed by the end of the boss room. The merchant offers less stuff. So we're going to go through and take the we cannot restore honor. That doesn't seem to really be all that bad for me. If you are kind of in a spot where your honor is already low, maybe you're looking to restore your honor before, you know, doing the boss fight, then that might not be an option for you. You always kind of need to make decisions based off of like what's going to be good for you in that moment. So even though I'm like, oh, this one's not bad for me, maybe it'll be bad for you in your run. Just kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to wait for this thing to explode before I go in. And once again, we're just trying to kill as many elites here as we possibly can. While also just playing safe. Now watch out for these like explosions and stuff because they can still do honor damage to you after the fact. We're just kind of running around. Now if you don't have room for some of these things, don't forget that you can always go to town. There's also the fact that there's like in the treasure room a stash that I really should have hit up. And lots of times I'll just dump everything into one big tab and then sort it out later or just completely forget about it, you know, one of the two. So here we're going to go and take key and then this and then probably big into another silver key here. So we can plot out our entire run. Oh, wow. We actually got hit by a normal mob there. Interesting. And it stunned me. We did lose a little bit of honor there. A little bit unfortunate. A normal white mob. It's the very first thing to hit me. If that's not PoE2 in a nutshell, I really don't know what is. Be careful of the after effect from the elite or the rare, and we're just gonna run this way. As you can tell, as you can see, like even though I don't have a mini map in this particular run, it's not really affecting me all that much because the layouts are all very, very similar from run to run. It's not something that like is going to be very difficult for you once you've kind of gotten used to it. On this also, like it doesn't really matter. Like you just kind of end up going everywhere. You might remember in the very first floor, these escape crystals were in a particular order and you have to follow the light. Well here, if we could actually see the minimap, you would see that they are basically everywhere that a thing could be on the minimap. So you just kind of full clear out the room and you'll basically full clear out all the crystals. And yeah, I do like to kill stuff because it does give water as well, which can be very helpful. Let me just bop our way through. So I think we already have the thing here where we cannot restore honor. So we even though we have hemorrhage, you cannot restore honor. It will try to offer me to restore my honor, even though I cannot. And that would cost me a little bit of water, which maybe could be the make or break from buying something or not. Also, if you keep your honor towards the end, so here, for example, we can roll under this. This is something I did not know at first, which is pretty useful. However, you don't really want to roll into it when it is like at the finishing point there, and you're like just running directly away from it, because that's pretty bad. Now, these platforms here where they have a pillar with a crystal, you need to hit these in order to progress further. However, sometimes those are still trapped, so you be careful. And so that one probably opened up a door over here. That one there is just a pure trap. We're just going to run through this as well. They probably opened like that door or something. We're just going to pop over this one, go through this room here. And as you can see, like we turned off most of made the traps a lot easier just by making them slower. And so that can just really help your run. And that's just like why having more merchant options really can be a big deal in this particular game mode. The more options you have, the more options you have. If you feel like you're struggling with traps, you can make them slower. If you think enemies are maybe doing too much damage or something, you can make them do less damage. But generally the like do more damage, enemies have less health, and you move faster are kind of like the magic combos for me. All right, sand pit boss. Now this boss is a little bit scary because it's a whole bunch of traps and stuff. Once again, I've never really actually seen her mechanics because I just do that to her. So unfortunately, I cannot really do a video where we talk about the specific mechanics of this in a like realistic way because yeah, but I would just recommend fighting the boss and seeing how it goes. I literally did that to her on my very first try as well. My damage was not even all that crazy because, you know, bells are pretty ridiculous right now. Maybe I can do a run where we don't blast the boss. So now we pretty much have everything that we want. The things that like maybe could be good here, the key, for example. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to buy this Bala's gift, which costs 140, but makes the next thing cost nothing. And then I'm going to buy something that I want that's expensive, like Restore Honor on room completion. And yeah, now we're pretty much done for that. We're going to go throw stuff in the stash tab that I told you about, where I will totally sort that sometime this year. Maybe next year. Now, this is kind of where the game starts to get hard. And actually will feel maybe a little bit difficult. Now, we want to get to this boss over here. Once again, we can see pretty far forward, so we can make some good decisions. I don't want to take this. I don't want to feel like I'm forced into this. So I'm going to try to go through the top part here. When you gain affliction, get a random one. That's bad. You cannot restore honor. I don't really want to do that because my honor's not capped right now. Can't freeze. Lose sacred water is kind of okay. Monsters do more damage. See less. So I'm probably going to take lose sacred water here. I'm going to go restore my honor, gold, take lose sacred water, get a boost. I think that that's probably the best for me. So here, there's a lot of like stairwells and stuff. However, if you are using any of the palm strike attacks for monk, it's actually a lot easier because the palm strikes just seem to not give a crap about the fact that there are stairs, and they just teleport you to the enemy. But one thing that is a little bit scary is there are a lot of ranged enemies in these zones. A lot of them. And sometimes they will just start attacking you even before you can see them. You kind of need to be ready to dodge. Having quite a bit of evasion here does help. Restore our honor finally. There we go. Not that bad. So once again, we're going to take this. We can also go and see gain a random minor affliction where you venerate. So yeah, we're going to go down. So Hourglass Trial. Hourglass Trial, I think in 4-4 is very much scary and something that you want to avoid. This is like one of the only ways that I really lose honor in a realistic way. And a part of that is because in these Hourglass Trials, enemies can kind of spawn in ridiculous spots sometimes. And you really need to be careful of these guys that shoot the little pot dudes are actually the most scary. because they will shoot 1 million projectiles at you that are massively honor draining. Oh, there we go. So we blew through that pretty quick. There is a layout for this that has a upstairs floor up here that's like a balcony looking over, and I've had like 2 pot guys spawn up there and just barrage me from the from the balcony, and I had to run all the way around to try to kill them. And I think that was one of the only ones that I nearly lost. So we're going down here, and then we're gonna go through to right up that maybe. Once again, chalice. And these rooms are going to be pretty similar on almost every single layout. And kind of like once you learn the layouts, it's not really all that hard. As you can see here, we kind of just teleport over the stairs, which is just really great, like absolutely great if you're playing a monk. So we have the ability to restore honor, but we gain a random minor affliction. Remember, minor afflictions that are random, we don't take. So we go here. Reduced movement speed is bad. Afflictions are unknown. So we're going to take this one, and we'll be able to see the final row. And if this is an affliction here, we will know what it is. So that one's like kind of an okay one to take. So once again, this is the hourglass room. This might be the bad layout. And you can't dodge roll out of these, by the way. Yeah, so this is the balcony room. I really do wish they would make the elites a little bit easier to tell that they're an elite, or rares, I guess. Because sometimes the only way you can tell is because why are you still alive when you've hit them a bunch? There we go. So we get a random boon here, which I think is worth it. Like a random boon is always okay. What's it going to tell me? I think we have Fountain of Youth. So restore 173 of your honor when you venerate a Mariketh shrine, which I think is anytime you get water or something else. So we're going to take this. So this is totally fine here now. So normally afflictions are unknown is a end of run, basically a run ender. But since we can see all the rooms, it doesn't matter here. So we wouldn't want to take this. We wouldn't want to take that. We wouldn't care about this one. We really don't want to take this because the boss is negative movement speed thing. So we just go through this very, very easy. We don't have anything that's negative for us. And the direction you do these rooms doesn't really matter. I tend to like the other direction first because that's just kind of how I started doing them myself. But just want to show off that you can kind of do these either way. Oh, there's one room in here that I'm not sure if we're actually going to find. But there is a room basically where you have to run through and do switches. And it has a puzzle inside of it where there is a little circle that when you step on it, it will teleport you back to where you were previously. And so what you need to do is step on the time twisty circle, then run through a gate, and let's see if we can find this real quick. Ritual Gauntlet. I'm going to take this Gauntlet one. Hopefully should we just get this room, even though movement speed is really bad. Oh, feels so much slower. And I think that we did get the room. Could be wrong. Ooh! Yes, we did get the room. Yay. Okay, just for you, YouTube. Subscribe if you like it. So what we need to do here is if we flip this lever, this would close this door, I believe, and open this one, which doesn't help us open up this door. If we flip this lever, it would basically just keep us going forever in a circle, which is just kind of bad. So the trick here is we step on the time trap, we walk over and flip the lever, and then we have enough time here to click this chest to see if there's any loot, and then it's going to teleport me back and explode. So watch the explosion there, but that's how you get through. And we flip this lever here, And this opens up the door to proceed. And then this is the part where I tend to screw up the most, is there's lots of these balls and there are enemies there. So just kind of being aggressive with them is pretty good. And here it's also very easy to get hit by the flames. I tend to like lose because I roll too early, or I let the flames just hit me in the back, which is bad, but that was a nice clean run there. And wow, the movement speed does feel so bad. So we're just going to take escape trial here for more water. And this layout is always the same. And I will show you where the scary part of this is. It is basically from this point forward as we're moving up. Is really easy to lose honor, especially right here. These guys can shoot at you before you can actually get to them. I've lost honor for the very first time in a run multiple times. Also, this part over here can be really scary if there's certain enemies at the top of the stairs here, or at the bottom of the stairs here, or at the top of the stairs here. This room is basically a no-hit run ender, I think. Just relatively difficult compared to everything else. Now, I think we should almost be done now. Big water. And we're on to the boss. Now, if one of the mechanics here we might actually do is he's going to go to the center of the room here. And so I'm going to switch my gear to damage here. He's going to do the center of the room. And we're going to have to go and pick up every single... I'll show the mechanic. I'll show the mechanic here. Okay, so he does this. This is kind of annoying. He kind of spins in a circle, and you want to avoid these little circles that pop up because these will time stop you. You can roll through them, I believe, without any negative consequences. So this here, we need to step on this. It pauses time, and we need to go and pick up all of these blue things. You need to be very fast, and it will slow you down. And you don't really want to roll unless you're hitting the last one. There we go. And that is pretty much the whole run. Very, very smooth, very easy. So we get our unique relic at the end here. And unfortunately, it is garbage, which kind of sucks. But in this last room here, we can talk to Balbala once again. She can sell some relics. She always sells relics after the boss. And maybe some of these will be good for you. But we can go to the Keth Forge here as well and nuke our water into keys. So now we have 8, 7, 6. And I always like to run around and look at all of the gold key room. Gold keys first. Royal is pretty good to click. I don't think we got any of the good ones, which is a little bit unfortunate for the video here. I think Hoarders is always just gold, which is not something I would normally recommend clicking. Mysterious shrines can just be random. There could be gold. There could be a car. There could be gold. And then for the most part, you can just kind of like pick whatever from this point. Mostly the silver rooms can be like mysterious can be okay. I've gotten like a divine out of one of those one time. But for the most part, like things like even like relics or boots or royal can be good. And I just kind of like typically go around the outside clicking all of the bronze ones until I'm out of keys, because for the most part the bronze ones are not so good irregardless of what you pick. But you will end up with a lot of bronze ones as well. So just kind of just keep clicking until the keys are all gone. And that's pretty much the whole run. One thing to note is that in each of these rooms, you do need to click, I believe, on this little shrine thing here to get your ascendancy thing. So if you get your final ascendancy, you should be good to go. And that's pretty much the whole thing. Hopefully this video helped you out. I know it was quite long, and I do appreciate if you stuck around. Let me know if this video actually was good, something that helped you with a run, maybe helped you with like picking out relics, maybe it was just like making better decisions. But yeah, this is pretty much my build. If you want to check the written guide, it's down below. We're just like kind of in our full like double herald setup. One thing to note is that heralds don't really do much for us against the boss there. And so realistically, if I really was trying to sweat against bosses, what I would switch both the heralds out for charge infusion and combat frenzy perfusion, just to give me 11% more skill speed, which is like 11% more attack speed. If you hover over skill speed, you can see that this is attack speed, cast speed, warcry, and similar stats. It's not movement speed, I believe, but you know, it's pretty good. Hopefully this video helped you out. We'll see you again soon, and come by the stream.